2012 release, and it'll be available for the Windows OS X, PlayStation 3, and Xbox 360. I'm assuming the PlayStation 3 version will probably, with Valve's recent awesomeness with
be tied to your Steam account.
Yep, you'll actually be able to play against people on Steam and get destroyed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which I really want to see that, just so that I have the ability to feel like I'm way better at a game than I really am.
Yeah,
because that way I can play it on
just
computer.
join an only PlayStation 3 group.
Exactly,
And
it'll be
just destroy
awesome.
Everyone.
Just be a god among mortals.
We've talked about that before. With they've done that where they've put games together, and someone who has a mouse in front of them is going to be like 1,000 times more accurate.
What was it? They put pro players on the console versus just regular amateurs on computer, and the pros got trounced. Just wasted.
Yeah, I would consider myself an amateur at shooters on a computer, and I'm pretty sure I could take down anybody on a console, because it's you have control. You have absolute control over where your HUD is and your cursor and everything.
Exactly. And I mean, like, there's only so many different levels that you can tilt your joystick on a controller. Whereas you have a full spectrum
even some of those
motion.
games have like auto lock on and stuff, and like reach and stuff. You have auto lock on slightly.
I think even Call of Duty has auto aim to a certain extent.
Yeah, and you don't have that in a PC. And so,
which you would think would be kind of a downgrade, but really it's not, because I know when I play like Halo, I get infuriated with auto aim because it's just imperfect technology. Like, it'll auto aim you at the wrong guy, and so it'll be like, oh, I was shooting this guy in the head. Oh, now I'm shooting the wrong guy in the head. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's a dead horse that has been beaten for about, 10 years now, because it's indisputable that you cannot compete with a computer player from a console.
Yep, another game they showed off for the first time at Gamescom was Borderlands 2. Did you play Borderlands?
I did, yes.
How do you feel about this?
Borderlands 2, I don't know, it looks exactly like Borderlands 1. I haven't really looked into it, though. I haven't looked at much stuff, but all I've really seen is some screenshots.
I really, 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 really love the humor that they put in Borderlands 1. Did you ever play it?
I played the beginning of it, and I couldn't bring myself to finish it because A, it was rented, and B, I could not tolerate that freaking little robot guy. He just drove me up the wall. I was like, I knew the game wanted to be goofy, but that was not goofy. That was plain old annoying, and I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm done, and I just walked away. Well,
what they've said that with Borderlands 2, they're remaking the AI system, and they're remaking the quest system, remaking a vehicle system. So 3 of the major facets of the game they're making better. They claim making better.
Okay.
I like the vehicle system. Obviously, could have been better. Maybe they're adding tons of cool things to it. The quest system, obviously, you can always make a better quest system. Mm-hmm. No matter how good you make a game, you can always make a better quest system. They're making visually striking places a lot better. Looking at some of these screenshots, they are a lot better than the first one.
And I remember the gameplay being relatively fluid, though. Like,
yeah, the gameplay was really cool. I loved how they did weapons and stuff with random completely.
Yeah.
That was really cool. That was a cool facet to a game where 2 people can never have the same weapon.
Yeah, it's nice to see something original too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think any other game has done something to that extent where you just have essentially an infinite amount of weapons.
Do they say anything about the classes in there?
No, it's the first look. This is the first time they've shown screenshots off.
I thought I heard somewhere though that there were going to be like either 6 or 8 classes, but still only 4 players. So there was going to be like a little bit more choice involved, rather than it being like, oh, you have to be this guy because the 3 of us already made our selections.
Yeah.
So that should be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're adding disposable guns, more silliness, absurdity, things like that. It's their game. They can make it how they want. And the first one, I really like the humor in.
The main thing I think I liked about that game is the fact that it has artistic direction.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like the real world. And immediately that has like a special place in my heart. So yeah. And I mean,
cel-shaded graphics or whatever.
Yeah. But as long as we're on these topics, I guess, as long as we're talking about first-person shooters, do we want to talk about the whole Battlefield 3 Origin thing? Because it feels like we just loop back to this every freaking episode, but it's worth talking about as long as it's kind of bouncing around still. But officially now, Battlefield 3, even if you purchase it retail, is going to require that you have an Origin subscription. Or not subscription, but account. Yes. Which is a little bit ridiculous to me. Because I can't think of pretty much any games
don't all Valve games require that?
Not all of them. I mean, like Left 4 Dead
Games
does,
made by
because
Valve.
it's multiplayer.
I think games
Exclusively.
made by Valve have to.
Do they?
I think lately,
I guess
yeah.
I've never bought any of them retail. I've always bought all those through Steam, so...
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they have to have a Steam account.
And I will trust you.
And so that's exactly the same thing that Battlefield is doing.
Yes. So it's officially snapping to nothing but their Steam look-alike thing, which is going to go down in flames. Giant steaming flames.
I've heard some people talk good things about it. And actual physical people I've met that they're talking
Real
about.
human beings that aren't owned by Origin.
Well, I heard Steam had a rough start too, though.
Well,
when it
yeah,
first
Steam had a rough
started
start
out.
because they were the first ones to do it.
Yeah, but
They were the first ones to even try. I mean, it was
I suppose.
they went on a limb, especially a tiny itty bitty company like that.
But also look at the market they were appealing to. They were appealing to while Battlefield players, as I said earlier, are more hardcore gamers than like Modern Warfare usually. People who played Half-Life are people who were pretty much embedded in gaming towards the beginning. And when Half-Life 2 was tied to it, they had a huge thing of people who really wanted, like something interesting, and Steam was something that applied to that. Whereas with this, I don't know, it feels like pigeonholing rather than throwing something new out there and having a new game, back it.
We'll find out.
Yeah. There's no,
There'll be a million people complaining about it if it doesn't work.
I'd be really interested to see if Battlefield 3 ends up being more of a console game than we expected.
We'll find out.
Because I think
We'll
that's
have
definitely a
reviews.
possibility.
We will have people in here. We'll have lots of people, and then we'll have lots of reviews.
When do you want to do your review, by the way?
Oh, I can do it at the end.
Do it at the end? All right.
Well, actually, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it after I'm done talking about this next one. Skyrim, obviously going to be probably one of the top 10 biggest games of the year, if not number one.
Oh, I'm going to waste a
rating
lot of time
wise.
on that game.
For rating wise, it'll probably be number one.
Mm-hmm.
If not by us, but then by every other reviewer.
Though it's going to be in a big year. Game of the Year is going to be actually relatively hard to decide this time. Normally there's something that kind of just walks up and
Game of the
powers through
Century
everything.
already went to Minecraft, so...
It's because Minecraft was literally just restarting on games.
But yeah, Skyrim will not be using Games for Windows Live, which will have a negative review of here in a little bit. They will be using Steamworks, as we kind of have the bias towards automatically because it's never failed us.
Yep.
It's never failed.
I mean, it was the
never
first
failed.
one, and it just continues to surprise me, really.
Yeah. They've
I mean,
never
they
failed
keep doing more and more awesome stuff.
They do everything nicely.
Mm-hmm.
If you were out there in the listening world have had a bad experience with Steam, I would love to hear from you.
And I don't think we're going to get a call for that, honestly. I have never personally had an issue with them, and I've never talked to anyone who has anything but great things to say about their customer
And
service.
all I've seen on Reddit and other websites is negative. Hey, look, this stuff doesn't work on Origin.
Yes, but...
And hey, look, this stuff doesn't work on Games for Windows Live.
Yeah, but you also have to look at the people who are doing that. Because those people have already made up their mind on both Origin and Games for Windows
I know
Live.
that's why I said biased.
Yeah, it's super biased.
Wasn't there, during the Steam sale, people who downloaded, Fallout 3, they had, purple hands and stuff? There was some issue
Yeah,
with
those
the
are
textures
probably
going
errors with Bethesda sucking.
on. Yeah.
Bethesda has had some weird issues with their Fallout series,
Yeah,
honestly.
they don't QA test games.
Well, but I never have had,
mean-
insane glitches in Oblivion.
I've seen some.
Really?
Oh, not in Oblivion, but
Yeah,
Fallout.
exactly. Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 3, I recently actually bought for my computer and I was playing.
Well, New Vegas doesn't work because it wasn't made by Bethesda.
Yes, that's true. But Fallout 3, I've had crashing issues with it, and I've had freezing issues with it.
Did you update?
I bought it just new.
Did you update
it was with all of the.
Did you update it?
I don't know how to make it update any more than it is. It's got every single add-on.
Just go to Google and look for the update. I remember
Alright.
that happening too.
All right, I'll hunt that down. But either way, that seems like a pretty drastic issue to have when you launch a game.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
mean-
game-breaking things like that, they happen with a lot of games. I mean, you truly can never test
For
enough.
everything, yeah.
You can never test that the one guy doesn't have perfectly updated ATI drivers, and yeah.
Especially a Bethesda game, it's so widespread. And
Yeah, and the games are so huge.
Oh, they're
so
monstrous,
huge.
yeah.
I mean, that's truly it, is the games get so big, you can't check for errors.
Yeah.
'Cause
Which I hope
could
we don't have
never
that issue
hire
with
enough-
Skyrim, because from what we
We
know
will,
of Skyrim,
we will.
it's going to be monstrous.
We're going to have those errors with Skyrim.
That's going to kill me. That's just going to kill me inside so hard. Because I'm going to be, like, so immersed in this game for, like, the first 2 hours, and then the first time someone's head stretches across the map.
Save twice and put autosave on
15 different
constant.
saves. And
I'm not going to have 15 different saves. I'm seriously probably going to have, like, 90. I just save over autosaves when I play that game and eventually go back and delete stuff, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've got, like, maybe over 100 autosaves in my Fallout.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a bummer that it's part of gaming. Like, it's something that you can't avoid, but it just... When a game like that, which its goal is to have, like, a giant world for you to be immersed in, it's hard to become immersed when you punch an alien and his limbs all, like, just go out to the horizon in every direction, and then you punch him and he snaps back together. It just kind of messes with everything a little bit.
Well, yeah, and then there was one where a video guy was shooting a guy in the head, and he exploded and expanded across the entire screen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a game-breaking bug. I consider that
at least
a
they're
game
funny, I guess.
Well, yeah, they're funny, but while you're playing it and you're immersed, and like if you're actually trying to play that character, which I did with my Fallout character, yeah, that's not good.
No, absolutely.
It doesn't work. Doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
At least there's always patches.
Yeah.
So, what were you saying there, Pat?
Well, the biggest issue with QA testing games is, from what I heard, is you might have to do things exactly the same you did before. So with Halo, there was a glitch that they found in Legendary that you could only get if you played it through easy and then normal and then hard.
Oh gosh, so I guess yeah.
So when
that's impossible to QS test.
Yeah.
QA test.
Yeah.
I mean.
So when they fixed it, they had to go and beat it in easy, normal, and hard again.
And then play through and see if it worked.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, no, thank you.
Yeah. So
it's really hard.
I mean, when there's stuff like that in Fallout 3, oh
and
gosh.
Then just imagine they also had to test that on every version of Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
It's just surprising me they
including
can't
like refurbished ones and all that stuff.
They can't do something along the lines of like save states to test that.
QA testing? No, you want to start blank.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, your quality
Sometimes,
assurance. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what QA stands for. Those out in the listening world. Yeah, I mean, you really got to ensure quality, so you really got to do the grueling, horrible work. That's why they pay money for it.
Well, if anyone out there is looking really hard to try to find someone who's willing to play through Fallout 3 times to make sure it's working, I'll be willing to sacrifice some of my time for that.
I mean, that'd be like 1,000 hours.
Yes, that would.
You act like I have anything better to
do. That's completely and utterly true. But we going to take a little break here, or are we going to do another story?
Yeah, but we don't have a CD yet, so yeah, we're going to trust the computer director with the selection of music, which is a nerve-wracking proposition to me right now. We're waiting. He's looking.
Fruit Bats?
Fruit Bats, yeah, Fruit Bats will do. We've already played it on the show, but we're of no obligation musically for a video game show, really.
Well, if we had video game music. Yeah, you video game music composers out there, we would love some video game music CDs.
That actually would be awesome. We should hunt down video games live, except that would not be that entertaining for radio play, I guess.
No, I don't really think that would be that much for radio play.
Video game talk and orchestra music.
Which song would you like me to play?
Play track 3? It's not too long, is it?
3? You got it. Alright. You're listening to 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming on WWSP, Stevens Point. This is 90 FM, your only alternative.
4?
We would love...
Oh, you're cutting me off.
I was going to say it again after that. We would love if you would call us and yell at us on your opinions, because we'd love to hear them, because ours could be totally wrong.
Yes, we'll be checking Facebook, all that.
715-346-2696. We'd be glad to take all of your calls. We'll be off air for 3 minutes while you're playing and listening to this fantastic song by the Fruit Bats. So yes, 715-346-2696. You're listening to 90 FM, your only alternative.
For gaming. I got to say it that time.
90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming does not represent the views of WWSP, 90 FM, or the University of Wisconsin school system. The views expressed and the information given in this broadcast can be used at the sole risk of the listener. I mean, let's face it, the opinion of these two guys is about as pristine as Wikipedia. After all, their source is the Internet. And now, back to the show. Fight!
Hello, and welcome back to 90 Terabytes of Alternative Gaming with me, Taylor, my co-host,
Q.
and our guest for this